Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about version 1.1 and kind of things for the future of Granblue Fantasy, what to look out for, specifically as for what they've talked about and what you can expect or what you should be doing going forward, and what to expect from not just this update, but also the live stream, dev stream that is going to be, I guess, occurring on the 9th. It's not, I apologize, it's not a dev stream. I believe it's an anniversary stream that will also feature some Granblue Fantasy stuff. Let's get into it. First and foremost, as you can tell, there is an official date now for Lucilius. It is coming out, or he and the fight are coming out on the 14th. We see Rackham. I don't even know if that's how you say his name, but I'm assuming it's better than what I pronounced before. Gran and Io and someone on the side. I'm assuming that's like Catalina or something. But long story short, there's a new boss fight. We don't know if it's going to be something that we get another boss drop from, or we get another drop in terms of like a weapon or something from them. All we know is the screenshot, and obviously when it comes out, we have seen a few things in terms of what we can expect from Granblue Fantasy coming in April. If you didn't see it, this was posted a little bit earlier, I think like earlier in the month or towards the beginning of Granblue Fantasy's release, and that is, okay, honestly, I don't know how to say both these names. I'm going to say Siofon and Tuyen. Both these characters are coming to Granblue Fantasy Relink. One of them is a sword character, obviously noted by the sword on the right side, left side for you guys. And then judging by the fact that Tuyen has a bow, she's a bow character. We only thus far have had guns or ranged, or I guess like magic characters. So she's an interesting, I guess, mix up. I'm probably going to be trying to play that character. I really like the idea of bows, and I really like playing bow characters in general, even though my aim is bad. But we haven't seen anything in terms of like the way that their kit works or anything like that. So it is what it is. Let's move along. Next thing that we have is, again, the update schedule that formerly, again, was talked about earlier on when Granblue first came out. We have the early March information. We now know when Lucilius is coming out and kind of what to expect from that fight in terms of, I mean, I guess we've seen like a screenshot or like a little bit of like the fight and like us or him in the sky fighting us. But the thing that we aren't really sure about, and the thing that we're hoping ideally to find out from the anniversary stream, is what exactly the two new characters are going to be, what the update or what the paid DLC is going to be, and then what is coming or what to expect from May. Oh, 1 second. I just forgot to turn something on. Oops. Anyways, moving along, the next thing that we have to kind of consider is, again, with the live stream or with the dev live stream on the 9th, something that is worth noting is that usually with the Granblue Fantasy anniversary streams, there's usually about like an hour or maybe like an hour or two, supposedly that is dedicated specifically to Granblue Fantasy, unrelated to like the gacha game. So whether that's Granblue Fantasy Relink or something else, I'm not sure. But that is something to look forward to. If it is going to be an hour worth of a reveal, presumably we'd get to see either gameplay, like direct gameplay fighting or something for Lucilius, or we're going to see the new characters in game. If we're really lucky, I would assume that we would probably be able to see something like teased or something related to version 1.3 in May, but that is a bit far away, so it is what it is. The next thing that I do kind of want to address and make note about is, again, if you're trying to farm out or I guess prepare for version 1.1, here is, I should say, everything that you need for the terminus weapons and where to get them. Long story short, if you need to farm out weapons, it would probably be in your best interest to do it now as opposed to before. Because again, if we have to fight Lucilius and you're trying to farm for his gear and you're trying to use characters that don't have any terminus weapons, it's probably not going to be a good time. They probably have also gauged like fairly well how easy or how hard the fights are. Now, again, this is all just conjecture, but just in terms of preparedness, there's no reason not to farm out a terminus weapon or a fully awakened terminus weapon for the characters or for the teams that you're ideally going to be running into Lucilius. We still don't quite know if Lucilius is just going to be a boss fight the way that most of the other Proud bosses are, or if it's going to be a raid. Again, just from what I see, it's Lucilius, and this basically what I've seen. It's a showdown against Lucilius. Again, this is, alongside like the birthday live special on the 9th. But again, in terms of what to get prepared for, Awakening Weapon is really good. And the next thing I want to talk about, and again, credit number 1 to Marcus on Discord for making this this Google sheet. But another very big shout out to Maggie, because this is talking about their damage calculator and somewhat of like a build calculator. The thing about this is that, again, you do have a calculator here that lets you see exactly how close or how far you are from the damage cap. It lets you insert whatever build you have on, what war elemental, whatever supplementary damage you have, critical hit, and it lets you, again, move or adjust certain features or certain like sigils around. You can change what character you have so it's more personalized. Like for right now, I was testing to see if my Catalina hit the damage cap, and I was looking through it and I was like, wow, this is great. And then obviously I realized, like down below, and I would have otherwise never figured out, that Enchanted Lands is actually really, really tough to hit damage cap for. It's literally 17.75%. And again, there's like a few other like, specific, I guess, damage things that are also kind of problematic to try and cap. The SBA gauge is notoriously bad as well. But that's the whole point of this. This is why I spent a lot of time, again, trying to build the units here or build the builds here and see what caps, what doesn't. Of course, it doesn't really take into consideration what like any of the cooldown and stuff does in terms of, like damage potential, just because it's seeing how much total damage you can do. But there is also an argument to be made here that, again, if you're looking to find out exactly how much crit you need, if you'll have enough crit with like your specific build, that's also nice for this. Long story short, though, thank you so much to Maggie, and again, whoever is exactly working on the Relink damage calculator. As far as I know, it's just Maggie, which again is really big. And it's a lot better than writing down a notepad what builds you have and then, running into like the training dummy and see if you can kill it. That's kind of ridiculous. The next thing that we have is okay. So the next thing that we have here is the quest drop rates, and the honest to God truth about this site is that I was using this more so to kind of check if it's even possible for me to get drops or get the tier 4 curios. If you didn't see the last video that I made, there was basically a revelation where someone had done a test of 999 curios, and they were trying to see if you could get certain rewards from curios obtained from certain stages. It was determined that you have a higher likelihood of obtaining a specific kind of curio from specific stages. Long story short, or ultimately, there are 4 different curios, and as you can see here, if we talk about, for instance, where is the stage that I want to talk about? Rule the Skies. Up until this point, I don't believe have access to any of these other curios that I'm looking at. But once you look at specifically Rule the Skies, you see that you have access to certain levels of curios. It gives you access to like a tier 4 curio. And again, if you want to check or validate any of these things, by all means, feel free to. I will include all the links for everything that I'm including or I'm talking about here, guys, in the description if you want to check that out. But there's material info, there's model info for the formats. But ultimately, Rule the Skies, from what I could tell, is the first stage that you can do that actually shows off the different variations of curios you can get. So that means you can get a tier 1, which obviously will give you worse loot. And to be clear, I was not aware that there were different curios, primarily because all the curios end up together. And it kind of sounds weird for 4 technically like different tiers of like a loot to be linked into each other, because why would you do that? You would just make a common box, a rare box, like an epic box, and a legendary box. But they didn't do that for whatever reason. All the curios are kind of just jumbled together, which is primarily why in my last video I was so confused by the fact that, all the curios stack together, even though they're technically of different quality. But thus far, or from here on out, I will be talking about the best stages to clear now that we can kind of see the drop rates and what, drops are possible here. And I would say that arguably the best stage, especially if you're trying to farm for curios, specifically is, where is it? It is I See a Grim Vision. My run, and you probably won't be able to see it. Let me get it queued up real quick, because just to show you guys firsthand how ridiculous this stage is. And I know a lot of you guys were asking for like advice about what stage to farm. But if you take a look at this stage, I have Zeta, who I've determined to be super OP. I have Lancelot, great for Glaciate, and I also have my Eugen, who is also another Paralyze. Using this setup specifically, I do an insane amount of damage, and usually I kill anywhere between 10 to like 30 seconds. Important note about Zeta, by the way, if you are using Zeta as AI, she is really good on when you pair her with less is more and you don't give her any skills. As you can see here, though, the Eugen, the Lancelot, and the Zeta cleared out this boss really quickly. And like if that's not enough proof for you, and just one moment, guys, because I want to. Sorry, this is not stalling. I just want to make sure that when I reset the run real quick, I'm not getting sent back to town while I'm doing the rest of the explanation. Sorry, just this is sorry. This is your tax for the information that I'm providing. I apologize, but I don't want to. And look, I'm also just maxing a lot of these resources because that's literally how much I've been farming this. But this was an 18-second maniac run. Like that is pretty significant in my opinion. Because again, like compared to like the proud runs that even though you're guaranteed to get a maniac run, or guaranteed to get a curio in the proud runs, like if you can get a curio with like an 80% chance on maniac and it takes 18 seconds, I think this is really significant. But if we move back to again the page that I have here, as you can see, there's a decently high chance of getting a curio here. Now, whichever curio it is, I'm not entirely sure. I believe it literally is 80% because it says you have a 20% chance to get nothing. But just based off of the statistics and like the runs that have been done for this, it looks like there's literally an 80% chance specifically for this stage to get a curio of any quality, and specifically a 2.4% chance. And the reason why I think Grim Vision is so much better compared to the other stages is because, again, although this is like an 18-second run, if you want to compare it to something like Trade Barriers or Worst Vacation Ever, although you are guaranteed a curio, there is only a 3% chance, which is a 0.6% increase from the Maniac run, in exchange for about an additional 4 minutes worth of clear time per clear. And again, an 80% chance to get one of these curios is definitely, in my opinion, going to be much better than the random chance, or than the random chance that you get one of the curios with a 20% chance to fail. In my opinion, is just, I think, mathematically just faster, because again, you're taking the 18-second clear as opposed to 5-minute clear, and that's just insane value, or it's just better value for you in general. But long story short, what I'm trying to explain with all these things is that in terms of the stages that you should be clearing if you're trying to get curios, I see a Grim Vision. Great. There's like a bunch of things that you can trade in for silver centrums or just sell for knickknack vouchers. In terms of proud missions, if you want to do proud missions that are really quick because you want some extra oomph or extra value, I would say Worst Vacation Ever is definitely topping the list because the crit rate 5 is really insane. If you can do Melting Pot of Hostility, getting the Tyranny 5, the Life on the Line 5s are really nice. Same thing with the damage caps. But ultimately, I think Melting Pot of Hostility was clocking in for me at about 5 or 6 minutes, as opposed to my Worst Vacation Ever or Trade Barrier missions, which were taking about 3 to 4. Now, again, to be clear, these are just the random things that you can do to get prepared for the next update 1.1 in Granblue Fantasy Relink. But I hope any of these things helped you guys. I apologize if it was a bit of rambling. I just felt like it was important to let you guys, number one, know when the next update or the next content is coming. But number two, also, what to do to prepare for it. If you guys enjoy this sort of content, please feel free to let me know, or please let me know, rather, in the comment section below. If you have any criticisms or feedback for any of these videos, I also appreciate it. I read all your comments, even though I don't respond to it, because sometimes the comments are a little mean, and I apologize. I'm a little kind of shy sometimes when it comes to that stuff. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and especially if you've gotten this far, for supporting. Again, if you want to check out the rest of my socials or find out anything about Granblue related stuff on any of my social channels, make sure to check out my Discord, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, etc. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much again for watching. Hope you guys have a lovely evening, lovely morning, lovely afternoon, wherever you are. I'll see you on the next one. Adios.